This is the Coach Bryan Moore Show with Opelika head football coach Bryan Moore. And now with Coach Moore, the voice of the Bulldogs, Van Riggs.
Another win for the Opelika Bulldogs. I'm Van Riggs alongside Coach Bryan Moore. And Coach, exciting game, a lot of offensive firepower in that game against Jack. Congratulations on the win. Just kind of, what are your thoughts after that big win?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, some good moments in the game, still looking for that consistency that we've talked about all year long. And, but pleased with the kids. Sometimes after a game like the week before, it becomes very difficult to get yourself back going. And I think we had a great week of prep. Specifically, Monday was not a great week. However, we bounced back. Tuesday and Wednesday were really, really good. Thursday morning was a monsoon out in the rain, which was good for us to go through. It did rain a little Friday, not much, not enough to impact us. But pleased with the kids and their maturation and how they're growing. Again, we got to speed up because we know what's coming. But again, excited about Reese Beasley. I thought he had a really good night. I think he was 7 of 7 with PATs, kicked 3 in the end zone for touchbacks and made a field goal. So him stepping up for Johnny Cecina, I think, has been really, really big. I thought our two quarterbacks played well. Both CJ and Colby played well in the game. We split reps between those guys. I thought we spread the ball to several different, offensive weapons with Waits getting his first touchdown and Tommy, and then Jalen Nelson, scoring as well. Jordan Waits also had a kickoff return for a touchdown that got called back, but he was out the gate on that, so that was exciting to see. Not just having to lean on Calvin, because we know what Jordan can do and the type of player he is. We saw that a year ago. I didn't think up front we were really clean offensively. I thought we needed to work on that, and we have this week, and they'll get better. Taking Darius Whitlow out of the equation, our right guard that's been exceptional as a sophomore, I think hurt us a little bit, but Carmel stepped up, and so did Keelan, and so those guys will continue to develop, but the communication is different with new pieces up front. And then defensively, it was good to see Smiley back, really rolling. I think he had 3 sacks in the game, and then of course the Superman where he lays out and strip sack, only he can do. And I thought Malik was more dominant last week, and TJ Thomas continues to play well, and Braden Stinson had a big sack, and I thought Ty Hudson had several tackles, several of which they didn't really challenge us inside, much like Auburn. They put the ball on the edge, and Ty had some sideline to sideline tackles that I didn't see from him a year ago. That I think is the next step for him. He's a college football player. He just needs to keep coming on. We held Tyler Moore just for precaution in the game, but it was good to see K2, Caden Harris, have a start, and I thought he played well. Lakedrick played well. Burts, he made some plays also. So again, encouraged, but got to be a little bit more consistent as we go forward.
One of the players I know that's been banged up, Bennett Young, couple good receptions,
yes,
and really good runs after the catch.
No doubt, and Bennett is a guy that was a little bit nicked up early in the season, and a guy we need. We need him to be solid, and we didn't play Brody as much. Out of precaution, again, had a little ankle deal, but Bennett really stepped up. Jalen had another touchdown from Jamari, so that was cool to get sort of a dynamic play there. And
really good pass, too.
A great pass. We've got some guys, Quez Johnson can too, that can really spin it, and Brody can throw it. And so we just got some kids that have thrown the football in the backyard a lot in their life, and so a lot of schools don't have that anymore. They're missing that. Our kids still get out and play and do those things. So Jamari is very talented with or without the ball. I thought he blocked really well downfield. Excited to see him grow there. But yeah, just encouraged by Bennett. We really need him to keep growing as we move forward.
And that just gives other teams something in the back of their mind anytime they touch the football. Boy, this guy could throw it downfield.
And we have all kinds of those. I mean, truthfully, like we've repped those things, and we've been really cautious about them. We ran one against Auburn that we mishandled it. And we don't want to gimmick ourselves down the field. That's not who we are. But I do think creating explosives is something we need to do. Coach McCracken made that point, I think, on the radio broadcast that we had 3 explosives against Auburn. We need more like 6 to 8 of those a game to really get those chunk yards and, to where offense isn't so hard. For us, if you think about the Auburn game specifically, it was like 5 yards, 6 yards, 8 yards. I mean, it was just a grind to move the football. There weren't any easy ones outside of Calvin having a couple of big runs. But we've got to go find those explosives as we go through the year. I think that'll help us to become more dynamic and put more points up.
Kind of like the big pass that Colby had to Jamari. I mean, that's a huge explosive pass plays, and it was one that was right on the money.
No doubt, and it was right after Blake had one down the seam that was called back for a hold. We had kind of had rigged up all year, but it was good to see. That was a 3rd and really long that we threw the ball to Jamari. Jamari's not usually the single receiver to the boundary, but we can do that, and we had that play rigged up. And so great throw there, great protection, 83-yard touchdown pass. We need more of those.
All right, as you move into Smith Station, I know it's homecoming week, been homecoming week, and a lot of fun and festivities going on with that.
Yeah, so a couple of cool things going on. First off, we're playing Smiths all week, starting, with our freshmen, with our JV. Our freshmen are on the road at Tallahassee, but then we'll play Smiths on Thursday as well for middle school, and then play on Friday night. Also, we have a community pep rally at 5:30 downtown, right across from First Baptist Church, there in the square. That's a cool deal. Our mayor will speak there, and I know all of our folks, all of our city council folks, and everybody will be there and be involved. That's a really cool deal. Walk through the breezeway and sit there in those chairs and be able to invite our people out, to support our kids. So we're excited about that. There are a lot of things that can get in the way a little when it comes to homecoming, but we've been cautious of that. And honestly, I was more concerned. I asked the coaches on Sunday, I said, is the Auburn week, things off the field bigger than homecoming? They said, yes, So we addressed those, and we don't want to have, issues off the field. But, our kids have handled all that really well. So, but it is a great event for our, former players and coaches and fans and people that maybe have moved away to come back and see the game. And hopefully it'll be packed out. It looks like the weather's going to be really nice as we move through the week. So nice to not have, last 2 games have been rain games, and so had to sort of have contingency plans on that. But I expect a big crowd. Look, I know, records and all that kind of stuff. We can look at all that and dig into the scores and everything, but these are still 16-year-old kids that are playing. And, we got to go play well against a region opponent that is very unorthodox nowadays in what they do offensively. And so that concerns you. So we've had to work really hard on that all week. So we'll have to be right in the run fit and be clean there. And we can't let homecoming and things like that distract us from the fact that we got to play a region game at home, which again, I don't love homecoming to be on a region type ball game, but it's just sort of the way it fell this year. But, again, we'll have to play well to get a win.
I had to do a double take again. Week 5, can you believe we're going to be at the halfway point of the season already? It
just flies by. I mean, especially for us without a bye week, so we're going to play 10 straight and then have the bye week, before the playoffs. So, that is going to go really, really quickly. And what I want to caution everybody, and our kids included, is don't get ahead with the back 4. We know, once Smiths and Pike Road and all that, we've got 4 straight region games in a row to finish that are going to really make or break our year. But we just got to keep stepping forward because, again, even if you don't play well, like last week, we had some moments where we didn't play well, and you still win, you still don't take the step you need to take in your maturation through the season. Like, your team is not progressing and peaking at the right time if you take a week off. So, we've got to really do a great job of focusing on ourselves and continuing to clean up because we're in no way, shape, or form a dominant football team right now that can just roll out there and play well. We're going to have to compete every week and make sure that we're locked in, have a great, week of prep and practice to prepare for these games.
I know a group on your team that gets a lot of attention, defensive line. They'll be showcased coming up at the weekly lunch on Thursday at First Baptist Opelika, right?
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. We're taking 5 of them. We could take 10, but, I didn't think we'd have enough food, if we took 10 of them on Thursday. But excited, Malik and Smiley and Lightfoot and Braden Stinson and TJ Thomas are all going, and Coach Howell's going. Kenny Prescott's already been one time. And so we're going to go through some clips, about 2 each. For kids that, just kind of highlighting a different skill set for them. And, if nothing else, I've told people this before, the reason we do all this stuff, the coaches show and the Thursday luncheon and everything, is to highlight our kids, to put them in the spotlight because of the work they put in and this experience that we're creating for high school students, but also for them to learn how to manage the media and manage public speaking. And Malik Autry's going to speak a lot in public. So is Smiley. All these guys are possibly college players. They're going to have to experience that. And so, what a great way to put them on a stage, and let their parents come and celebrate them, to be able to come out and watch them and, have a great meal that's provided there at the church. Just a really cool event. So I think the luncheon has really grown and exceeded my expectations. We had over 60 last week. You know, and I hope with all the kids that we're bringing, we'll have 100 this week. And I've encouraged everybody that comes to those, bring one person with you. You know, let's get this thing growing. The church can hold 300, so that's the goal, you know, long term. We'll figure out another venue if we have to, but I hope that our city will come out and see our kids, and we'll just continue to go at different angles each week, just like we're doing this week with Coach Ferguson being here. You know, for this show, we want to continue to highlight different people because of the job that not only our kids are doing, but our coaches are doing. And I really don't say that enough. We got great coaches that care about our kids, that pour into them, you know, and help those two things we always talk about, creating championship people that win championships, you know, and that's what we're working towards. And, you know, Coach Ferguson being here is doing a great job with our special teams, but more so, he's doing a great job with the character of our young people, you know, and how he pours into them and cares about them, and so many behind the scenes things that people don't even know about. So really, really pleased with him. And while I'm on him, you know, how good have our special teams been all year, you know, really, and now Reese stepping up, and, you know, Reese Beasley's just had an incredible 2-game stretch. Again, like I mentioned earlier, but Zion's punting the ball really well. We'll have Johnny back soon, maybe even this week. You know, and so we're encouraged by the job that they're doing with our specialists, and Marshall Myers as well, with our specialists, and they're just doing a tremendous job. And again, all these shows and things that we do, Van, and what you're helping us do, kind of highlight our people, and I appreciate that.
I told the kickers in warm-ups the other day, I said, you know, Marshall used to kick it over the indoor, so you got to,
right.
You know, and
no
they kind of
question.
looked at me funny, and then, you know, Marshall, of course, he didn't go along with it.
Right, right, yeah. Well, you know, actually last week, you know, we had a left-footed, Jag had a left-footed kicker, and so I said, Marshall, you better stretch before this practice, brother, because you're going to kick that thing around. So they had a left-footed punter and kicker, different kids. And so Marshall was our guy. So he's done a tremendous job, you know, coming from Auburn University. What he's able to do for Coach Ferguson is, you know, is Jamie can really look at the whole scheme, you know, and I'm in there too, and we got several coaches that help, but Marshall can look at just the specialists, you know, so he's just focused on the kickers and punters. Because a lot of times, man, if you guys, any of the people watching have been around football, man, those guys cruise around and do whatever they want to do at practice. I mean, you got 99 guys that are working at practice. You got 3 kickers that are over there hanging out talking about whatever, you know. And so we put together a practice plan for those guys, and we structure practice around them because special teams for us are that important. And we feel like that's got to be a win, like a given. And then we'll work on offense and defense to win another phase of the game every week. But for those guys, man, that's got to be a given deal. And with our specialists, you know, really, I think we're 4 for 4 in the special teams phase so far this year. And that's got to be a dominant phase for us. And Marshall and Jamie just done a great job with that.
All right, don't forget lunch. You'll meet the defensive line, get to hear from them, and, of course, Coach Moore at First Baptist Church, Opelika. Just $10 will get you a great lunch. And, again, that's Thursday at noon, First Baptist Church in Opelika. We come back on the Bryan Moore Show. Special teams coach Jamie Ferguson as we continue on the way. Continuing here on the Bryan Moore Show with Special Teams Coach Jamie Ferguson. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Hey, appreciate you having me today.
We just talked a lot about your special teams. Talk some more about it. I know you've got a great group over there you're working with.
I tell you what, we have a really good group of specialists. You know, you take Zion Henderson, who's punting the ball really, really well right now. Has a really big foot, just comes off his, you know, you can just hear the difference between him kicking and other kickers. When he really hits that ball, flushes up, he has a tremendous leg. And, you know, you take the Auburn game, you know, he flipped the field position on one kick. I think it was 64-yard down into 2. I mean, that's game changing. You know, a lot of people don't look at that, but that's a lot of hidden yards. And for the most part, you know, he's been pretty good nonstop the whole year. Then you go into Johnny, who's another tremendous leg, and it just comes off his foot, you know, really different than most people. And we've been really pleased with him. He's been a little banged up the last week or so. And then, you know, what a luxury to have Reese Beasley come in and be able to do whatever he needs to do. Like Coach said before, 7 of 7 on, you know, extra points this week, 1 for 1 on his field goals, and had 3 touchbacks. So I mean, that's a very nice luxury to have as far as specialists. And then as far as our teams go, man, we've had, you know, we want to win every single game, the special teams, every phase of it. And that's kind of our goal every single week. We have goals that we hit. You know, everybody has offense and defensive goals, but we have special team goals, and we want to meet those goals. And they've done a really good job of not only meeting those goals, but exceeding those goals in most areas. I think the most we've never gotten, I think there's 11 goals for each week, and I think one time we've not met them two goals in 1 week. So they're playing extremely well.
All right, I know one thing it starts with is a snap. Cam Rayleigh's done a good job snapping
Absolutely.
too this year.
This past week, best snaps we've had him. Cam Rayleigh handled a lot of our extra points this week. You know, when we do our swing and gate, Camarelli's the guy because he's an eligible guy for as far as like the fakes and whatnot. So he has to be able to short snap. He has some really good short snaps. Kyle Everson also going there. He will short snap when we go big field goal or, just big PAT. Again, really good snaps. This week was their best. And I know Coach McCracken always says it, nobody knows who the snapper is until there's a bad one, especially on punt. And Camarelli's done a really good job on all his punts, and they're just continuing to get better each and every week. And
you got some pretty good hands there on no holding, too, with Brody Jones.
You get it close to Brody, he'll make everybody look good. That's what I tell him. Just get it close to him. He'll make everything work. And he's such a leader, in everything he does. And special teams, he takes pride in that. Somebody that has such of a role on offense, or we have defensive players as well that have really important roles. But our kids really have bought in to special teams and how important they are. And not just Brody, but all of them really. And I think that comes because Coach Moore is so involved with our special teams and like he tells me, it's got to be a given. We've got to win special teams. We'll figure out a way to win, another phase of the game. We win 2 out of 3, we win the game. It's being so important to him makes it very important to the kids and for me as well.
And covering kicks, I know, so important. I was looking around. I know Enterprise ran a kickoff back on Auburn. It's one of those things that down the home stretch, those can make or break your season, and covering some of these athletes we're going to face is going to be key.
I think every good coach around looks at what your weaknesses were last year. And ours, of course, glaringly was kickoff coverage. I spent most of the summer, and Coach Moore, we met with many different college coaches to try to figure out the best strategies, the best ways, best circuits to put our kids through in order to understand how to make our fits better. And that was a key focus for us this summer, was to make sure our kickoff coverage was better. And knock on wood, we've been really, really strong in that aspect. Now we have really good players, and they make you look good. When you put those dudes out there, they get down the field. And again, when you get Johnny and Reese that are banging it down there, either in the end zone, starting at the 20, that's a luxury. But most people, they want it to go in the end zone because when they return it right now, they're not getting to the 20 because our kickoff coverage team is getting down there so good. So I've been really, really happy with that group, and really, kids like Xavier Thomas and Vince Wank and Nelson and Brody Jones. All these guys are just, dudes on both sides of the field, and they're just busting their tail on special teams too. It's just been really good to watch these guys get down the field and really just with the hair on fire and looking to hit somebody.
All right, I know you're excited to get everybody back to full speed, hopefully coming back this week.
Yeah, I definitely think we get all these people that are a little banged up back full speed. It always makes you feel better when you got everybody at your disposal. But I've been really, really pleased with the people that have been stepping in when we've had some injuries.
Coach, appreciate the visit. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Special teams coach Jamie Ferguson. We'll be back next week with the Bryan Moore Show. Don't forget Coach Moore's weekly luncheon. Thursdays, First Baptist Church in Opelika. Defensive line, again, the special this week. And, of course, next week on the Bryan Moore Show, we'll be recapping hopefully a big win over Smith Station, a happy homecoming, and getting ready for the Pike Road Patriots next week here on the Bryan Moore Show.